Hello, everyone. Welcome to Her Forbidden Tales. I'm Gino. Today, Rita has some personal matters to attend to, so I'll be gently lifting the lid on this secret. This time, we've received a letter from Tokyo, sent by a lady named Natsuko. She's willing to share her story with us. Miss Natsuko, are you listening?
Yes, I am. Konnichiwa. Hello, everyone. I'm Natsuko, 28 years old, working in Tokyo. It feels a bit nerve-wracking to say this.
Please don't be nervous. This is just a quiet corner where your voice will be heard gently. So, where shall we begin the story in this letter? Miss Natsuko, how did you take your first step out of your home in Tokyo that morning?
That day, it was an ordinary morning. I live in a small apartment near Shibuya. After getting up, I stood in front of the mirror and chose a black knit dress. The hem was a bit short, barely covering my thighs, and the stockings and 5 centimeter high heels made me look like a typical Tokyo office lady. The reflection in the mirror seemed proper.
It sounds like a common sight on the streets of Tokyo. Was there anything special about it?
Well, it's a bit embarrassing to say. I have a habit of sometimes forgetting to wear underwear. That morning, I rushed out the door, with nothing under my dress but stockings against my skin. When the wind blew, I could feel that coolness, a mix of unease and an indescribable feeling.
I see. That's indeed a hidden little corner. How did you feel walking on the streets of Tokyo?
The morning in Shibuya was still misty. I walked in the narrow alleys in my high heels, the wind gently lifting the hem of my dress. I kept thinking, what if someone saw me and my steps quickened? But that version of myself, walking on the streets of Tokyo, had a strange sense of reality.
In a city like Tokyo, such a sense of reality is indeed intriguing. Later, you boarded the train. What was the scene like then?
I squeezed into the Nakameguro line carriage, packed during the morning rush. I stood near the door, holding on to the strap. The crowd surrounded me, making it hard to move, my hips and thighs accidentally brushing against the person behind me. I listened to jazz through my earphones, not thinking much, until a faint scent of tobacco and cologne wafted over, somewhat familiar.
A familiar scent. Was it someone's shadow?
I wasn't sure at the time. I turned to look. It was a tall man in a dark gray suit holding a book. His shoulders were broad, his demeanor steady, his face half hidden by the book. A flicker of doubt crossed my mind, but before I could figure it out, the train jolted.
A jolt. What happened next?
I lost my balance, leaning back, and that part pressed against my buttocks. Through his trousers, I could feel the warmth and a bit of contour like heat rushing into my body. My face flushed. I wanted to move away, but found my legs wouldn't budge, my heart racing.
Such a moment sounds like a hidden shade in the Tokyo train. What was going through your mind then?
My mind was a mess. A sense of shame surged up because there was nothing under my dress. The sensation was too clear. I imagined him looking at me, the curve of my buttocks outlined so obviously by the dress, nowhere to hide. I bit my lip trying to calm down, but a voice inside me said this feeling wasn't entirely bad.
Not entirely bad. That's a subtle confession. Did he do anything?
He didn't say anything, but I felt his gaze. He was taller than me. He must have seen my red ears. The train jolted again. His hand, the one holding the book, had somehow come down, his fingertips brushing the edge of my buttocks, pausing for a moment, as if testing something. My whole body trembled. That patch of skin felt like it was on fire.
Fingertips brushing, that's a delicate image. How did you face it?
I didn't dare look up, just stared at the floor, my heart pounding like it was about to overflow. I glanced at his hand, large and slightly rough, and couldn't help but wonder what would happen if he pressed harder. I knew it was a strange thought, but I couldn't stop it.
Such thoughts are indeed surprising. Did he say anything? He suddenly whispered, "The dress is thin." His voice was low, blending into the noise of the train. My face turned even redder, and I softly replied, "Is it?" He chuckled lightly and said, "Be careful. Don't catch a cold." It sounded casual, but I felt there was something hidden in his words. The dress is thin. That phrase is quite meaningful. Do you think he noticed something?
I suspect he might have guessed. There was nothing under the dress. His hand must have felt it. His eyes were calm, but the corner of his mouth lifted slightly, as if hiding something. I wondered, was he saying that on purpose?
This makes the story even more intriguing. Was there any other special moment?
When the train jolted again, his hips pressed against me, this time more distinctly. I could feel something hard through his trousers, pressing against my buttocks. Not very obvious, but enough to make me flustered. My buttocks were squeezed tightly, the sense of shame exploding. I even imagined him holding me down, whispering something.
Such imagery is indeed breathtaking. Did you think of escaping?
I wanted to run, but the carriage was too crowded. I couldn't move. He then asked me, "Are you okay?" His voice was low, as if suppressing something. I managed to say, "Yeah, I'm fine," but my voice was trembling. He didn't say anything more, but his hand brushed my buttocks again, as if confirming something. My whole body felt like it was electrified.
This journey's really tense. How did it end?
When we reached Nakamaguro Station, I almost fled off the train. Standing on the platform, clutching my bag, I looked down, panting, my buttocks still burning as if branded. I looked back. He was standing in the distance, lighting a cigarette, his gaze piercing through the crowd at me. As I was about to leave, he walked over and whispered, "Natsuko?" I was stunned, only then recognizing him as my high school literature teacher, Mr. Kondo.
High school teacher. That's an unexpected twist. How did you feel at that moment?
My mind went blank. I stammered, "Kondo, sensei?" He smiled and said, "Don't call me sensei, you're not a student anymore." His gaze slid from my face to my dress, as if seeing through something. My heart skipped a beat, feeling like he already knew my secret.
This ending is really thought-provoking. Is there any follow-up?
After he left, my phone buzzed. It was a message. "Natsuko, be careful next time. Don't wear such a thin dress. Kondo." I stared at the screen, my fingers frozen, knowing in my heart that this wouldn't be the last time.
Such an ending leaves endless imagination. Ms. Natsuko, thank you for sharing this memory of Tokyo. Your honesty has enriched this secret box. Dear listeners, how did Miss Natsuko's story make you feel? This is Gino and Rita's Secret Box. We'll meet again next time. If you have a secret you'd like to share, please send it to me. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe.